Hey there guys, this is Obsidian Chill. Got another video for you today, and this is going to be Into the Dark Multiverse Elite, Conqueror of Darkness run, which is the no death feed in Elite. It's also going to be a solo healer run, solo nature healer. I'm sure there's been solo videos uploaded before. I'm just mentioning that aspect just because at this point, which is the sad thing, it's what, 2 weeks into the DLC and we're already looking for ways just to challenge ourselves in Elite. This isn't going to be the, like, normally when Elite raids come out, I do, like, my Elite guide walkthrough and talk about all the mechanics and go through, like, little, steps and stuff and guides, basically, for that Elite raid, but I didn't for this DLC because, honestly, I was hoping they would get buffed. That's why I kind of waited for it, and it doesn't seem like that's happening for a while. So then I've got this video out, which is just the last boss, because the first boss I've already done the card feat, not the card feat, the card guide for the first boss for the puzzle technically. The second boss, really super straightforward as well. Like, it's not, I wouldn't even consider it an elite boss. Like, the only danger in the second boss of the forge, the Hawk Forge, is just the embers. If you let 3 or 4 embers stack up on you, then they're going to explode and they're going to one-shot you in elite. And that's pretty much the only danger. The boss can't kill you. Unless you're in Elite, technically there's the 5 phases, so if you don't, it's a damage check. If you don't do that, then he'll wipe everyone. I mean, that's the only danger. So unless you're meleeing. If you're going to melee the boss, then yeah, he does some proximity damage. That's about it. So really, other than that, like, there's the hallways, which is basically you just running that little group, basically running down, skipping by the ads, and then grouping them up just because to save time. So it's unfortunate what the state of these elite raids are. They've got some really neat mechanics, so I can kind of go into this boss fight here, just talk about it while I'm kind of doing my review of the raids anyway. So basically, set this final boss fight up. You have to DPS the spirits originally, and then once the spirits are down, you have to make sure you're out of combat, which is basically there's still a chance for the boss to de-aggro and pulse beam a player in the cutscene or just after the cutscene. So say you're in combat and you have a pet out like the Granorium or Robot Sidekick or Shadow Bat, something like that. You have the chance for that player to get targeted, which can cost you that no death feat. So that's why normally we take off all our pets. But if you're not in combat, then you don't have to. It's just if you're in combat. So it might be some of the tanks, might be some of the healers. So it's just be mindful, which is also why I'm basically spamming my supercharge in the cutscene just so it comes out immediately. Same with a healer. Obviously, we have a solo nature healer, so we don't have a group shield. But say you had electric or something like that, then they could spam group transducer the button, and as soon as the cutscene finishes. You also have these black pools that spawn up. You have to definitely avoid them because the damage stacks on them very quickly. I think it's like every quarter second or every half second you get damage ticks from that, like 32k each time. So that certainly adds up. But besides that, the fight's really, I mean, I wouldn't say it's a joke. I mean, it's there. I mean, it's just a fight. You stay along the walls. You want to bring Barbatos, sorry, forgot his name for a second, to the very front because he still does that pulse, so it's unnecessary damage the group's going to take. But the room is so large, it doesn't matter. Like, if you're standing back here fighting all the sub-bosses and Barbatos is up there with another tank, I mean, the pulse is not going to hurt you. Like, it's not even going to touch us here. So that's why you want to kind of hug the walls, hug the back. The sub-bosses have their own little mini mechanics. You've got Red Death's bombs. You got Batman Who Laughs does his Robins. Merciless will go to the supply drops. Dawnbreaker does his orbitals. The orbitals will kill you. You have to watch out that. They'll also levitate you. I really don't even know at this point if the bombs will kill you. I just turn the cogs because it's something to do as a controller. I also should mention as a controller, because I saw this in the previous comments, I'm only using Brawling just to be different. Brawling Shuriken Storm is not better than in Handblaster Solar Flame in terms of supercharged regen or power regen, because you don't get supercharged regen on the Weapon Mastery combos. But I'm just using it to be different. It is higher damage. Brawling Shuriken Storm is higher damage than Handblaster Solar Flame. But obviously I'm burning through my power pool because it's not as efficient for that. So, don't think like, oh, Obsidian's using Brawling Shuriken Storm. That's some secret now. I have to use that as a controller. It's not. I would be using Handblasters, just that I got bored of Handblasters, and I'm just going back to Brawling Shuriken Storm to do a little bit more damage. But yeah, in terms of that, you're just the tank. Another thing I just mentioned is that Forge medal that's up on the top right by Forge Master Hawkman when you turn the cog, they can activate the sub bosses at that point. Because of that pulse on Barbatos, you just want to make sure a tank does it. That's all it is. So the second tank would go and activate the sub boss each time. You do one at a time, and then once they're all dead, then you'll get to it here. But it's a super straightforward fight. Like, I know like LFG pugs are getting this no death feat because really it's easy to get without even trying it. It's just gonna, like, the easiest way to complete this elite fight is just to do it like this way. It's really straightforward. You can't screw it up. It only takes like 9-10 minutes. I should mention that you don't want to stand right beside Red Death because his spinning punch can kill you as well. Just in terms of the no death feed, in terms of like a regular elite run, then you're still fine. But that's all it is. It's just, it's a shame because it was really a promising raid. I should mention as well, you need 5 people to have the this nth metal resistance form because you need to turn the cogs when Barbatos gets to his focus point. So you have to be mindful of that. So obviously there's no point of continuing the fight until all 5 people have it. So just pick the support roles, and tanks are going to have it anyway, and just 1 DPS. But that's all it is. You're just kind of saving mechanics, saving orbitals to get Dawnbreaker out, get Drowned out, kind of like that. But yeah, going back to my original point, it's just a letdown, really. I understand it because there's so many bugs from test server. They had to nerf all the mechanics down, like completely nerf all the mechanics, because they couldn't fix them. They couldn't fix them properly, so they nerfed all the mechanics. They're kind of slowly bringing it up. They buff slightly some of the mechanics, not so much in this raid, but in Phoenix Cannon Elite. But it's just, what's the point? These sub bosses do nothing. There's no real risk of dying to any of the sub bosses. Barbatos is like a super joke anyway. Like, as like a final boss, it's like, okay, you run up, you DPS him. He does a breakout animation. You run backwards because he's going to de-aggro. I mean, that's the thing. The only risk of dying to the final boss in this DLC is a de-aggro, a scripted de-aggro or detaunt. That is the only risk of dying in this fight, unless you're going to try to melee him, which you're not going to do anyway. But you can stand and flurry shot. The pulse doesn't even hurt that much. So if you have like 1 or 2, like, even we're doing a soul heal, but you can easily have 2 heals, and it becomes like really minimal, the pulse. But I mean, that's the point. The only time you're going to die in this raid, in this final boss, is a scripted detaunt. So it's just, I mean, I don't even know how to explain it at that point. Which is a shame. Like, the raids like look really nice. There's some interesting mechanics on them. They just didn't. It has no substance. Like the framework is there to have some interesting, challenging raids, but it's just like, think about it. Going back to Unholy Matrimony Elite. So the first boss in Holy Matrimony Elite, you have I forget what it was Avatar Sin. I'm pretty sure it's Avatar Sin. So you have Avatar Sin, you have all those other sub-bosses come out, you have to kill the sub-bosses in certain order, you have to worry about Cyborg, Shield, stuff like that. And then you basically, once the sub-boss is dead, you kill Avatar Sin. That's the first boss. And this is the final boss in this DLC, Barbatos, like, where this is supposed to be the climax of this DLC, fighting, the Bat God, or whatever Barbatos' backstory is. But this is the climax, and this is like a carbon copy of the first boss in the Holy Matrimony. And so that you kind of getting off like Robin Williams off topic here, but that breakout animation you saw when he kicks back all the players, that's when you want to run backwards, because that's where he's going to do the scripted detaunt. It's usually about every 3rd pulse beam. Sometimes it's not, but just watch for him to do the breakout animation and then run backwards. Usually it's going to aggro a healer or one of the top DPS. Ideally it should be the tank, obviously, getting in a range, but if it is going to be it, just roll, don't block, just roll away, or shield, stuff like that. But it's either going to be the tank, which it should be, but sometimes they can switch to the healer or a DPS. Usually it's going to be the top DPS. Obviously now it's switching to Eileen, and he's running backwards. So that's all it is. I mean, that is the only risk in this fight. It's a super straightforward. This is probably the easiest no death elite feat in the entire game's history. So, like I was saying before, like, the climax for this DLC is like the first boss in like an old elite raid. So it's like, what? I mean, I don't know. the only thing that made this hard on test server even too was all the bugs. That's why we couldn't properly test the tuning because of all the bugs on test server. So now the focus point is up. You just have to drag Barbatos down to the focus point, turn the cogs, and then like, you know, an orbital strike comes and kills them. That's it. I mean, that's the climax fight for this DLC. You don't even have to kill them. Focus point in, turn the cogs. I mean, this is the other risky part because obviously we're right beside the pulse. So if you don't time it correctly, then the pulse can kill you guys, or his scripted deton, because you're all right beside him. But I mean, this is probably the second riskiest part of the no death feat. But I mean, we're about to get it now. There we go, Conqueror Darkness, like super straightforward. I mean, you can get this in pugs by accident. So I do have a full walkthrough of Phoenix Cannon Elite, of getting the Viola style feat, whichever. It's like a 25-minute run. It's still very clean. So I'm going to do a walkthrough on that one because there's a bit more mechanics to focus on the first boss and last boss in that raid. But I mean, this raid, I didn't see the point in doing a full commentary for this one. So stay tuned. See you guys in the next video. Hope you liked it.